Boys, UFC Fight Night, Saudi Arabia just finished up a crazy fight card. Honestly, in my opinion, main event kind of saved it. The prelims were a little bit iffy here and there, but definitely the main card was a must watch. And you know what? If we have cards like this going to Saudi Arabia, I wouldn't be mad because, to be honest, that crowd was dead. So many of these fights could have been so much better if, the crowd had a little bit better aura around them, was a little bit more enthusiastic with the fights, but, pretty dead crowd. It is what it is. Our boy Bobby Knuckles got it done with that first round KO over Ikram. There's levels to this game. And as you can see, we have the entire main card, a few losers, every single winner. We also have every single winner on the prelims. We're going to quickly run through every single one of these, starting with the main event though. Robert Whittaker, like I said, got that first round KO over Ikram. Now he's on a 2-fight winning streak. He's only lost to the champion DDP and Israel Adesanya in the last 10 years, which is crazy. And yeah, with that being said, there's two options for Robert Whittaker right now. Number one, he goes in and he's the backup opponent for Izzy versus DDP in the Perth card. Or what I want them to do, there is conversations to be had of who should be the next challenger after DDP and Izzy's finished up. There's Robert Whittaker and there's one more guy. And that guy is who I think Robert Whittaker should face next, Sean Strickland. I think they should run this on the Perth card. 5-round co-main event. Winner is next up for that title shot. So there's no debate. There's no waiting. I think this is the perfect next logical step up. Plus, if someone in the main event does get hurt, you have two fighters right here who can step up into that main card slot. Sean Strickland, coming off that win over Paulo Costa. And again, in his last 5 fights, only losing to the champion Dricus. He's already beat Izzy. He hasn't fought Robert Whittaker yet. You can't tell me this would not be an amazing co-main event to that Perth card. Is that likely to happen? No. It honestly just depends who wins. If Izzy wins, I don't think Rob's getting that rematch anytime soon. If Dricus wins, there's a possibility that they give him the title shot, but more likely than not, I'm seeing Strickland get that title shot over Rob, which is unfair. At this point, Rob is that next contender. I think he's higher than Strickland right now. So, put these two together, fight it out. Let's see who comes out the winner to be that next contender. Let's keep moving on, though. The loser of the main event. You can't tell me you guys didn't see this coming. Ikram, like I said, there's levels to this. He just wasn't ready. He was ranked number 30th or something in the middleweight division, going up against number 3. Again, one of the biggest jump ups in recent UFC memory, but regardless, had zero success in this fight. And Ikram, one of the guys that the UFC have been promoting, one of the guys that the UFC want to push. His last loss was against Chimaev all the way back in 2019, really similar to how he lost against Whittaker today. And Whittaker actually finished him faster than Chimaev did, and other than Chimaev and Whittaker, this man's undefeated. But he's going to need some time off. I don't expect him to come back anytime really soon. Maybe by the end of the year, early next year, sometime around there. And the UFC is going to want to push this guy. Give him an easy layup bounce back fight. Do I think this is going to be the easiest fight for him? No, but I do see him getting it done. I do see this being a fun matchup, and that's going to be against Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva right now, he's on quite a bit of a losing streak. At one point in time, he was on a 7-fight winning streak from 2017 all the way up to 2021. Right now, he lost against Alex Pereira. He lost against GM3. He beat Brad Tavares. Then he lost against Brendan Allen, lost against Sharaputdin, and then lost against Chris Weidman. That Chris Weidman fight, very controversial, but regardless, I think this should be the next matchup for both of these guys. Bruno Silva should be ready to fight any time now. I don't know if he has any injuries or anything like that because he last fought back in March. So hopefully we see this fight towards the end of the year. A fight that I think Ikram can win, and a fight that I just think is going to be really fun on the feet, on the ground, wherever it goes. Let's keep moving on though to the co-main event. We have Alexander Volkov taking out Pavlovich, aka Pavlovich, because that was a bitch move what Sergei did at the end of the fight. Alexander went over there to hug it out. Everything's cool, but no, Sergei had a little bit of a hissy fit, pushed him out of the way. I guess there's more beef there than what Alexander actually originally thought, but regardless of that, his last loss was 2 years ago against the champion Tom Aspinall. So at this point, he's lost against Tom Aspinall, he's lost against Cyril Gahn, he's lost against Curtis Blades, and he's lost against Derek Lewis. In the last just under 9 years, those are the only 4 fighters who have beat him. Do I see him gain a John Jones fight? No, although that would be a very fun matchup, and I wouldn't be against that whatsoever. That'd be one of the more entertaining heavyweight fights that you could probably make right now. But like I said, do I see that ever happening? No. I think he's one more fight away from a shot to the title. And as of right now, the championship belt is on the line at UFC 304. I think he should fight the loser of that matchup, which I think is going to be Curtis Blaydes. Like I said, they already fought each other, but that was 4 years ago. Both of these fighters have completely changed their game. Both of these fighters have improved dramatically. He lost a unanimous decision, but, you know, I could see him winning against a Curtis Blaydes who's coming off a loss against Tom Aspinall. And I think that's probably what's going to happen. I would say I would like it to be sooner rather than later. But like I said, Curtis Blaydes, Tom Aspinall is happening this July on UFC 304. So about a month-ish away. Depending on how that fight turns out, Curtis Blaydes could either just lose, you know, a very bad knockout loss. Could be like a TKO loss, he could get submitted, could be decision win. Depending on the amount of damage that he takes, it might be a while before we see him. I would like to see this fight maybe around that December card, early next year, depending, like I said, how much damage Curtis Blaydes does take. But yeah, let's keep moving over to the salty loser of this co-main event. Sergei Pavlovich literally just bitch made move at the end. I don't know why he was so butthurt. I did see on Twitter a lot of people are saying that it did look like Sergei hurt his hand in round number 1, so maybe that's why, you know, he didn't look the best. I asked on Twitter, do you guys think that Sergei Pavlovich got fraud checked in this fight, or was this just a bad stylistic matchup? You guys are gonna have to let me know in the comments below, and if you aren't following me on Twitter yet, go ahead, link in the description, give your boy a follow. But he's on a 2-fight losing streak. Obviously, that KO loss against Tom Aspinall, and then just right now against Volkov. Other than that, he was on a 6-fight winning streak all the way back since 2019. 2018 was the first time he lost. And depending on the injury on his hand, if he even has one, it might take him a while to get back into the octagon. Same thing with like a Volkov situation. Give him like around 4, 5, 6-ish months at the maximum to see him back in the cage. And the guy I want him to fight is going to be a fresh matchup. Unfortunately, he's already booked to fight right now. He's fighting on August, so, you know, depending on how that fight goes on, we might see it a little bit later. But still, a new fresh matchup. That's going to be against another Sergei in Sergei Spivak. I think it's time to give Pavlovich someone a little bit lower in the rankings. A fight that he can 100% definitely win. But again, give him someone a little bit less ranked, less experienced, and just a fight that he could possibly win. I think the UFC is going to want to keep this guy around as fun fights. And yeah, I still see Sergei being in that top 5 spot for a long time. And right now, coming off 2 back-to-back losses, we just need a bounce-back fight for Pavlovich. So that's why we're giving him Spivak. I still think it's going to be a tough fight, but I do see Sergei getting this one done. But with that being said, let's keep moving on into the next fighter who won, the guy that missed weight, Kelvin Gastelum. It seems like Dana is really mad with Kelvin right now, and justifiably so. You know, this guy, you're putting too much faith in him. I think Dana said he's missed weight like 4 times now. He's very unreliable. It's very disappointing. Am I happy that he won? Yes, I do like Kelvin. But at the same time, this guy needs to dial in. He needs to stop eating all these damn tacos. He needs to be dialed in for his next fight. I say we give him one more chance at 170. If he can't do that, he's a 185er from now on. He'll never get offered another 170 fight again. I think that's what the UFC should do next. And you know, I hate doing rematches, but this fight is going to be a rematch. Right now, both these guys not scheduled to fight. Of course, no fight scheduled for Kelvin. He just came off this fight. But these guys first fought years ago, back almost 11 years ago now, November 21st, 2015. Kelvin actually lost this fight by a split decision. And I think he should run this one back, try to get that win back against someone like a Neil Magny. Both of these guys at the later end of their career. Both of these guys a veteran in the sport. Both of these guys fan favorites. Both guys that I think will put on a really fun matchup for the fans. And yeah, let's run this back, get that rematch. If Kelvin can't make this 170 weight class, there's no more chances from him. Honestly, at that point, maybe even just cut him from the organization, because realistically, how much extra pay-per-views and all that stuff does Kelvin add to a card? Not that much, I would say. And yeah, the UFC needs to put some heavy law down to show Kelvin that, you know, this shit ain't gonna fly. Neil Magny right now, a lose-win type of fighter. In his last 7 fights, he would lose one, win one, lose one, win one. Started with a Max Griffin one, lost against Rakhmonov, won against D-Rog, lost against Gilbert Burn, won against Phil Rowe, lost against Ian Gary, won against Mike Malott. So yeah, fun matchup. I think this could be like a co-main event of a fight night card or an opener of a pay-per-view. With that being said, let's keep moving on to Sharaputdin getting it done over Antonio Trocoli. Trocoli just looked, I don't know if it's just Trocoli isn't UFC ready. or if it was just the double weight cut, the super short notice fight. I don't know what it was. But at the end of the day, Sharaputdin did not look that great. He should have got Trincoli out there way sooner than what he did. And right now, being in the UFC, he's had 2 fights, Bruno Silva, Antonio Trincoli. And to be honest, hasn't looked that great. Yes, he's improved tremendously for his takedown defense and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, did he look the greatest? No, he should have got him out way earlier. That being said, I don't think the UFC should push Sharaputdin that hard. Let's give him another easy fight that he should be able to win, get a highlight reel KO. Because low-key, I think he got a little bit fraud checked in this fight. Not in a bad way, just because maybe we hyped him up way too much and he's just showing that he's just not as high level as we thought. Bo Nickel called him out. I don't think they want to put 2 prospects up against each other, even though I would love to see that. But I think his next opponent should be Brad Tavares. He is scheduled right now to fight on July 20th against Jun Young Park. Brad Tavares, kind of on a losing streak right now. He is 1 in his last 4 fights. And yeah, right now I think it's about giving Sharaputdin some fights that he could get a highlight reel KO, some highlight reel moments, build him up more and more, because right now, at least in my opinion, he's not top 15 level of the 185 division, in my opinion. But let's keep moving over to the opener of the main card. The winner, Volkan Oezdemir, sent Johnny Walker to the Shadow Realm. That was the nastiest knockout I've seen in a long time. One of the nastiest knockouts of this year. That follow-up shot, making Johnny Walker's toes curl, pretty much just ended his career. Nasty KO, but with that being said, he's on a 2-fight winning streak right now. He's 3 in his last 4 fights, and I think we give him a decent jump up in competition. He's 34 years old, doesn't have that much time left in the UFC for a title run, so this is pretty much his last chance. He called out 2 fighters. He called out Jan Blachowicz and Jamal Hill, and right now, I don't know how long either of these fighters are going to take, but right now, I kind of like that Jamal Hill matchup. Jamal Hill last loss was against Alex Pereira. Other than that, he hasn't lost since 2021 against Paul Craig when he broke his arm. And other than that, those are the only 2 fighters to beat him. And yeah, this is a fresh matchup for both of these guys. And Jamal Hill willingly accepted the Khalil Roundtree fight, so I don't see why he wouldn't take this fight. I believe Oezdemir is going to be higher in the ranking than what Roundtree was, so all around, I think this would be a very fun matchup. I think someone would get put to sleep bad on this fight. And yeah, Jamal Hill is going to need some time to recover from his injury. Jan Blachowicz still recovering from his double shoulder surgery. Volkan Oezdemir took out Johnny Walker with ease, so he's going to need 0 time to recover, to be honest. So honestly, it's just at the point where we're waiting for him to have an opponent. But yeah, Jamal Hill versus Oezdemir would be a banger fight to put on any UFC pay-per-view, or even just Fight Night card. But now we have the loser of that fight. We have Johnny Walker. This is the last time I'm ever gonna pick Johnny Walker, because I picked him in this fight just because he has a little bit of that tism in him. I believed way too much in his autism to carry him through this fight and just land something stupid and KO Volkan Oezdemir. But yeah, last time I'm picking Johnny Walker. But with that being said, I'm making a autism tier list. Every single fighter in the UFC who has the most autism in the UFC. Johnny Walker 100% going on that tier list. You guys have to let me know in the comments below who else should I add on that tier list. But with that being said, sticking to Johnny Walker right now. Right now, he's on a 2-fight losing streak, both of them by knockout. And he's fought a lot of the top 10, top 15 in the division. I think it's time we give him a step down in competition. He's gonna be out for a hot minute, because this was one of the most vicious knockouts I've seen in a hot minute. We're going to need at least a year off for Johnny Walker. And I think his comeback fight should be against Alonzo Menifield. Right now, he's scheduled to fight on August 3rd. But like I said, Volkan Oezdemir just destroyed him, sent him to the Shadow Realm once again. So he's going to need some time off. He's going to need a full year off. So who cares if Menifield wins or loses this fight? And yeah, that is everyone on the main card. Let's quickly now just run through the prelims. Nasrat got that decision win over Jared Gordon. Honestly, kind of a robbery, but it is what it is. Right now, he's on a 4-fight winning streak. Last loss was back in 2022 against Bobby Green. And let's jump him up into the rankings. Definitely his hardest fight yet. That's going to be against Ismail Bonfim. Bonfim just recently lost to Benoit Saint Denis, but got that win over Vince Pichel. But that was honestly just a layup fight. I think this would be a fun fight. Both these guys not scheduled yet. Both these guys haven't fought each other yet. Do I think Islam knocks out Nasrat? Most likely, yeah, but again, a fun fight, a good scrap. I think this would be a very entertaining fight from start to the end. I don't think it's going to the judges' scorecards, but if it does, I think it would be a banger 3-round war. But yeah, let's keep moving on. I'm trying to make these prelims fast because I know you guys don't care that much compared to like the main card. Lima got that rear naked choke over Naimov, but honestly, I had him winning every single round, even up until that rear naked choke. An amazing debut, an amazing way to enter the UFC. I believe Naimov is ranked like number 30, so he's pushed up really high into the rankings right now. I don't want to push him super high up, but I still want to give him someone in that top 35 to 30 area, and I think the perfect matchup is going to be against Andre Fili. He is scheduled to fight next weekend against Cub Swanson, but regardless, win or lose against Cub Swanson, I think his next matchup should be against Lima. Right now, again, one of those win one, lose one type of fighters. He lost against Sadiq Youssef, he won against Charles Gordon, he lost against Bryce Mitchell, no contest against Daniel Pineda, lost against Brito, won against Bill Adjo, lost against Nathaniel Wood, won against Lucas Almeida, lost against Dan Ige. So at this point, it's looking like he's probably going to win against Cub Swanson. But yeah, this would be a banger of a fight. Two guys who are here to scrap, but also have submission threats with them. You know, more than half of Andre Fili's wins come from finish, and around the same thing for Lima. So I think this would be an amazing, fun matchup, especially for the fans. But let's keep moving on. We have Rinat gain a decision win over Nicholas Dalby. You know, another controversial win. It could have been very well a Nicholas Dalby win, but Nicholas Dalby, it was so annoying listening to this man the whole fight, not even every 5 seconds, the whole fight just in my damn ear. It was hella annoying. With that being said, this man hasn't lost since 2013, which is crazy. Do I think he's all that great? No, but I think someone who could give him a tough matchup, someone who lost on this card, lost on the main card, let's give him someone like a D-Rod. D-Rod looking really bad in his fight history so far. He's on a 3-fight losing streak. Last win was all the way back in 2022. As of right now, he lost against Neil Magny. He lost against Ian Gary. And now just right now, lost against Kelvin Gastelum. So definitely going to move down in the rankings. And I think this would be a fun matchup. I think this would be a matchup where, you know, Rinat might get a little bit fraud checked. But yeah, logically, scheduling wise, is a good matchup. Let's keep moving down. We only have a few more left. Muin Gafurov got that decision win over Kang Johan. And you know, it was a fun matchup. That literally last, I think, 5 seconds. He threw a spinning wheel kick that hit Kang right on the chin. I'm surprised he didn't go down from that. But you know, previous to that, he was on a 2-fight losing streak, so he just broke that losing streak with a good decision win. Let's move him up, nothing dramatically. Someone who I think is on par with his level against Pedro Falco. Right now, Falco, he was on a huge winning streak. Right now though, came into the UFC in April for his debut. He lost that fight. On the regional scene, he had a 5-fight winning streak, including a win on Dana White's Contender Series. And yeah, I think this would be a fun matchup. Not really much left to add to this one. Scheduling wise should work out. Ranking wise should work out, but let's keep moving down. Magomed got that decision win over Benson Ribeiro. Right now in the UFC, 9-0, undefeated. Hasn't looked the greatest. You know, there's been moments where there's been some weakness, but overall he's looked solid. Let's not jump up anything crazy. Let's match him up with Ibo Island. This guy's 13-1. His last loss was back in 2020. He just made his debut back in March. He won KO win against Anton Turkalik, and you know, I think this would be a fun matchup. He was also on Dana White's Contender Series. He got a win over Paulo Renato Jr. That's how he got his contract into the UFC. And yeah, 2 Dana White Contender Series guys fighting it out. This would be a super, super fun matchup. Every single one of Ibo's wins have came from KO. When Magomed, on the other hand, over half of his wins come from KO. He has 1 submission win, 3 decision wins. So I think this would be a very fun matchup. With that being said, we have one more fight to go through. Chang-ho Lee, the winner of Road to UFC, got that split decision win over Long. And you know, fun matchup. I could see how Long could have won this fight, but I'm not mad that Chang did win this one. Let's give him someone who else fought on this card. He lost on this card. That's gonna be Chang. You know, he just lost against Muin. Decision win. Other than that, he's on a 2-fight losing streak. He He's been in the UFC for a minute, but at the end of the day, 2-fight losing streak. He's gonna have to fight down in competition. And yeah, let me know what you guys think of these. Would you change up any of the matchmaking? What did you guys think of this UFC Saudi Arabia card? I thought it was really fun. It could have been so much better if, you know, the crowd was a little bit more engaging with the fights, but it is what it is. We're on that road to hit to 500 subscribers. Every day we get closer and closer. So thank you guys all who do subscribe. And if you haven't yet, subscribe with those post notifications on so you never miss any of my newest videos. And yeah, there's really not that much else left to say except for I will see you guys in my next video.